Okay, I thought of giving one revision session, but without good evening to everyone, one and all, and sorry for starting late because I didn't have any option. From 6:30, I'm getting connected. Okay, so because it is one like 2 days gap, so I just want to give 2 minutes revision. First day of your program, we have just started with the basic C, that is types of data, what is data structure and what is primitive and non-primitive data structure. So basic data type or data structure is like character, integer, float, etc. And non-primitive are like array, structure, all those things. So this is divided into two parts. One is linear, one is non-linear. I'm telling fast because it is just a revision. So linear is array, stack, queue, and non-linear is tree, graphs, etc. Then we have done with conditional statement. We have 3 conditional statement you can see, and 3 loop control statements. Then we have given how for loop gets executed and how while, do while, for gets executed. For while doesn't have much difference. Only for some small facility we can just go for switch between for and while. Do while executes on at least once because we don't check any condition and enter inside the loop. So interview question, they will ask you, what is the interview question? What they will ask you is why do while execute only once even if the condition is false. So if first condition is false also it executes. Then we have done with if there is a semicolon just after the for loop. So for loop will be executing, it won't be infinite loop, it will start from 0. I will be incremented, but there is a semicolon, so control will not move to next line. So for execution wise, I will be equals to 1. Again semicolon, condition is true, so for I will be equal to 2. So like that I will be 4. Then terminating condition will be false. So even though there is a semicolon, the for loop will break, like it will come out. So CPU bus will be printed once. Okay, and I told you why infinite. This is only for loop. After that semicolon means it is infinite for loop. Okay, so this is called infinite for loop. I am not explaining the reason now. Only one thing I will tell: terminating condition is not there means it is always set as true. So control will be entering always inside, so hello will be printed infinite times. Okay, so after infinity, if there is a semicolon, it means infinity will be continuously executed, and as there is no end for the for loop, and after that there is a semicolon, so control will not enter inside. So it is a double for loop or single for loop, it does not matter whatever is the written in the body, because control will not come to this line at all. Whether it is a for loop or it is some statement, it will not be executed. Okay, these are the 2 important things I wanted to share. Then array, structure, union, and pointer. Pointer is what? Pointer stores that array. I'm not telling, it is just a collection of homogeneous data types. Only 2 things you should add. All the data types should be present in the same in a sequential manner. Sequential manner means they will be in the linear fashion, they will be in the sequential manner. They will be stored in the memory in consecutive memory locations. Okay, so then coming to pointer, pointer holds the address of memory location. Here you can see PTR is holding, because a address A is assigned to P, so PTR is holding the address of A, which is 2000. So writing star P means, my dear students, you should never forget, it is any variable means it is content of that variable. Okay, so content star is a content of operator. Okay, so it is content of PTR. So content of PTR is 2000 and content of 2000 is 5. So PTR here pointer, you can just learn one lesson that with the help of one variable we can access other variable, because that concept will be used in the call by value, call by reference also. Double pointer is nothing but you are storing the address of one pointer variable inside other pointer variable. But in that case, if single pointer address you are storing to another pointer, that pointer should be double pointer. Simply, if you have 4 pointer sign before a variable, you can only store the address of a variable who is declared as 3 pointer. Okay, any doubt in between, you please stop me and you please tell me. To print a pointer, we use %u. %x and p are also allowed to print any address. Remember one thing, address can be normal variables address, it can be a pointer, it can be address of a pointer. So it can be any kind of address, just other than value. But remember, it should be declared as a pointer. But when you are printing just address of a normal variable, in this case also it is a address, even though you don't have a pointer. Could I able to make my point clear what I am telling now? Suppose you don't have any pointer in your program, okay, but you have just one integer no. Am I audible to everybody? Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Any in between, I'm telling fast, just a revision. So
Yes, ma'am.
okay, Kaushiki. So what I am telling is, here even though you have a normal variable and its address you are printing, you don't have any pointer, but still normal variable's address is also a address. So to print that, you need to use %u. Okay, even %x or %p is allowable, but in this case you will get the address in hexadecimal format. I taught you how to change the hexadecimal to normal decimal. Okay, illegal arithmetic operation other than subtraction, anything is illegal, because we cannot just add to address, like address of your house and my house. I am not going to get any valid address where something I can tell that somebody is sitting there or somebody's house is there. Okay, so but difference will tell me what. Suppose my address is 301 and your address is 305, means if I subtract, I can get how many houses are in between. Okay, so that is the only reason subtraction is possible. It is not normal kind of subtraction, it is just a pointer subtraction. So if you subtract, subtraction gives you the result 6, result 8. So if size of pointer is 4, you will be getting the subtraction result as 2. So it will tell you that integer type of how many pointer gap is there in that. Okay, next what we did array of pointer and pointer to array. Array of pointer, you can just see here, pointer to one dimensional array. Here how to remember is, you check with bracket. If both are brackets, it means what, you can start from left to side, you can start reading the expression from left to right, and A is an array or pointer that will be decided by the associativity. Associativity means what, you are reading from left to right, both are having equal precedence, first bracket and third bracket. Okay, so here first bracket will be starting, and in first bracket A is a pointer, so you should read it as A is a pointer to one dimensional array of 5 integer. One dimensional array means if the number of third brackets are 1, then it will be one dimensional. When it will be two dimensional, if I would have had the same third bracket once again repeated and another one like in third bracket 6, then I would have told it is a two dimensional array. Okay, so similarly in the second one, it is an array of pointer. So A is array in this case because over A there is no bracket. Okay, so A5 will be given the first priority. So A will be star A or A5. Where is the priority? Priority will be go to A5. Okay, so it will be taken as array. So A is an array of 5 pointers. Okay, so string thing I have told, I don't want to discuss. What is dangling pointer? If pointer is pointing to a memory location which does not exist, then the pointer will become dangling pointer. Okay, so when it is a dangling pointer, what is the good approach to avoid dangling pointer is, you must assign null value to the pointer in the time of initialization also, or if you are deleting a node, like CSC must be knowing what is linked list. So when you are deleting a node of the linked list, then last node, I told you if I have time, last I will do data structure part. So in this case, you can assign. Normally you just listen that when your pointer was pointing to some value and that is deleted, that location got deleted, not only value. So it will be pointing to the same location, but location is not existing, so it will become a dangling pointer. Okay, so I don't want to go in details of it. We have done with function. This is a function declaration. this is function call, this is function call. One second. What is function? Function is just like when you want to repeat the same operation again and again. Here some addition you are going to repeat. So what you will do is you can take a function prototype like that, and you can repeat calling the function from your program. Like here you have called once, here you have called once. So function will be, suppose this is executing, this is taking two values, and this is performing a operation a plus b. It is performing a operation a plus of b, and it is printing the value of p. Even though it is printing the value of p, but control goes back to the calling point. Okay, so only again the sequential execution starts, and the second sum function will be called. Okay, if any doubt is there, please ask. I have not got any doubt from your side. Like in the next day, it is maybe very good you would have cleared all your doubt, but still I have a responsibility to show you once again. So in this case, next thing is what I want to show, that is first thing is exit 0 and 1. Exit 0 means it always returns true. Other than exit 0, there may be any number of return values for exit. Okay, it can be exit 1 to exit 255. So these all are one or other way returns a invalid like some error messages. Okay, so it will be occurred when some error happens in the system. Okay, especially these all are having application in Linux operating system. Next is type def. Type def is what? Type def is okay, this is a pointer to function. This is a pointer to function. Okay, as of now you leave it because you don't have much time. Call by value and call by reference we have done. We have used here pointer concept to access, how I told during the pointer session, that you can access one variable with the help of other variable. Okay, here what was happening in the call by value is you cannot return two value from the function. Concept behind call by reference is call by value you cannot return two values, and you want two values to be changed in the main function. A, B is something local to main, and when you are taking again A and B here in the function, but still there will be a memory allocated for A, B which will be local to swap. So you have two copies of swap function. You have two copies of AB. Here there will be a memory allocated for A and B which is local to main. This is local to main, and here you will be having the memory allocated for A and B which is local to swap function. Okay, so when you are swapping, you are just having 10 here and you are having 20 here. When you are passing the same value, you are calling the function with 10 and 20. So A will be getting 10 and B will be getting 20, and after interchange inside the function, A will be 20, B will be 10. But please remember, this is separate set of A and B, which is local, which is present in the local area. Local area means stack. When function executes, especially we take the help of stack memory. So it is somewhere in the stack memory, and stack memory will be specific to a function. Okay, let's say some 4 bytes of memory, stack memory will be given for A and B. Okay, so that only is this stack is valid until and unless control is inside the function. Okay, this goes out of scope when the function gets completed and control returns back to the main function. So even though the change is incorporated here, but it is not reflected here. Okay, so to recover from that problem, what we did is we have gone for call by reference. Okay, call by reference, what we do, we have taken two variables and passed their address. So it will be like A will be holding the address of M and B will be holding the address of N. And you know, with the help of star A and star B, we can directly access M and N. So even though we are using star A star B for swapping the variable, but still the change is getting incorporated in M and N, how we showed in the first slide of pointer. Okay, now next is type def. See here, I have taken type def int star int ptr. It means what? See here, I have taken one second. I have taken here type def int star int ptr. It means what? Int star int ptr. Instead of int ptr, you can take just here I also. Okay, no problem. Like type def int star I. So in this case, what I can write? I is a type. I is my defined type. So now x and y, when I will be declaring, x and y will be I type. And what is I type? I type is nothing but an integer pointer. So if you are using type def int star int ptr will be a type. Int ptr will become a type, which is just an integer pointer type. So you can just write int ptr, and when you are writing x, it means what? It means xy. Int ptr xy is just mean that int star xy. Okay, is it clear for everyone? Is it clear for everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes or no? All of you,
Yes, ma'am.
I just want a quick response from all
Yes,
of you.
ma'am.
Want a quick response from all of you. Okay, some more response. Some more response, please. Some more response, please. In chat box or written form. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, thank you so much. Now I will just quickly revise structure. This is a structure can be nested. Normal structure I'm not telling. It will take time again. So structure is okay, no problem. Thank you, dear students. Now structure can be nested in many ways. One is nested structure, nested in many ways. One is by separate structure, one is by embedded structure. What is by separate structure? Two structures are there, and one structure variable is declared inside another structure. So structure variable of date is nested by structure employee. Okay, so date type variable is dog. Okay, which is nested by struct employee. Okay, so this is called first type of nested structure, and you know how to access. Like emp is the variable of base structure. Base means where the variable of other class is declared, that is the base structure or parent structure. Okay, so you should take the variable of that type, and you should be how you will be accessing emp1.name. But when it is the question of date, month and year, you will be writing emp1.dog.dd, because dd, and yyyy is not present inside your structure. Okay, now coming to normal, our normal actual nested structure, where what we usually go for embedded structure. But you must know that structure nesting can be done in two ways, because multiple choice technical round, many questions will be asked from this. Okay, so in this, what we have done is struct employee is there. Inside you have the local variable inside this structure, and after that what you have done is you have taken another structure which is inside this structure only. Okay, it is not separated, and e1 is the variable for which structure employee. Okay, so how we will do? e1.id is fine, because id is the member of the structure whose variable you have taken, that is e1. But when it is the case of accessing ddyi and in this case you will be using the variable via intermediate variable, that is dog also. So e1.dog.dd. Okay, if it is clear, shall I carry on? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
You can see some more response I want to get. Shujoy, okay, thank you. Some more response. Take 10 seconds to give response. Take 10 seconds to give response. Some more response. Some more response. If no, please don't hesitate to tell, because I won't be revising this once again. Okay, we'll be trying to go ahead with C++ and we'll be starting Java in another 1-2 days. Okay, stop giving response. Now, one drawback of structure is two drawback of structure I want to discuss now. One is, you see here, one is we cannot take any function inside the structure. That is one drawback. We can have only variables. You can have array pointer, another structure, up to structure you have, up to pointer you have, but you cannot have a scope to declare one function inside the structure. Okay, what is so that was the drawback. To overcome that drawback, we have gone for C++. Okay, not only to overcome the structure, that is the one reason of moving to C++, and obviously object orientation. So usually according to the rhythm, if you want to go, next to structure should be your class concept wise. So why I did last structure, that is the reason. Okay, structure cannot have function, so structure type of another structure is class in C++ or Java, but added advantage is you can have function inside it. Okay, that difference will be always asked in interview. What is structure padding? If you have a structure of this kind of structure, that is, you have a character. Okay, let it be here only. There is a character, there is an integer. So how much memory byte it will take? 1 plus 4, 6. But what we have considered is, in 32-bit system, block size is 4. 32 divided by 8, how many bits construct a byte? If you divide the system architecture bit into divided by the byte size, you will be getting that what is the word size. Word size means word size of that architecture. Word size means what? When CPU will be reading the variable, what CPU does? You have written a program. Now CPU has to read the program and perform the operation. So when CPU will be reading, it will be reading from the memory. Okay, that how many bytes character A has taken, how many B has taken, then not how many it has taken, it has to read the character. Like character A may be storing Z, character B may be storing Y. So Y and Z should be read by CPU. Now when it is a question of reading this, character will take 2 bytes and one word means 4 bytes. So when one word means 4 byte, what will happen is when one word is 2 byte, means it will CPU will read these 2 in one cycle, but to read the integer, what will happen? 2 integer will be read in this cycle and another 2 second portion of integer will be read in the separate cycle. So instead of doing that, what we can do is we can just tell the CPU to, we can just tell the CPU, we have just feed a concept to the CPU. That concept is called structure padding. Okay, what is the structure padding concept is, just move the CPU, just move the next data type to the next cycle. So what will happen? See here, in one cycle these 2 are also readable and this whole takes only one cycle, so this is also readable in one cycle. You don't need to spend 2 cycles for that, for reading integer. Okay, so but in this case, what is the drawback is, this portion is empty. So even though but CPU has spent 1 full cycle for reading this, so CPU has spent 1, 2, 3, 4 4 bytes it has read and 4 bytes it has read, so it has read total 8 bytes, even though the total size is how much? 4 plus 2, 6. Okay, it has been read in one cycle only, but how much byte has read in one cycle? That is 8 byte. So in this case, what will happen is, even though you have saved you have wasted 2 bytes of memory, but still the variable can be accessed within a single cycle. If there are four bytes of something, that can be read by CPU in one cycle only. If there are 2-3 things in one word whose length is one word, it can be readable in one cycle only. Okay, so your the time consumed by CPU will be less, even though there will be some memory wastage. But memory wastage we are not considering. We are considering what? We are considering the saving of CPU cycle. Okay, so in this case, what savings is CPU cycle. Our concern is not memory, because there are a lot of memory available. So if 2 bytes are getting wasted, we are neglecting it. See here, for storing 12 for storing one character, one integer and one character, how much memory is getting consumed? For this 4, for this 4, for this 4. Why? Because out of 4 only 1 is occupied. Out of this 4, maybe 2 or 4 all are occupied. Out of this 4 only 1 is occupied. Because of structure padding, because of putting all the data type in one cycle, we have gone for structure padding option. Now question may come, I can just alter the position. I can just do one thing. I can take A here, then I can take B, I can take C here, then I can store B. I can give 2 gap, then I can store in next 4, I can store B. Okay, but that is not possible, because it has to maintain the order. In structure, when you are declaring variable, first A is declared, so A will be there, then B is declared, then B will be there, then C is declared, so C will be there. Okay, you cannot change the order. Okay, so it will be taking unnecessarily 12 bytes of memory, which is a waste. To remove this structure padding, two solutions are there. One is just you need to include the directive #pragma pag1. Okay, so in this case what will happen, you can see, if you are printing the size of the variable, you will be getting the expected size. Okay, 2 byte plus 1 byte plus 8 byte. So when you can see the same, like how much you are expecting, 13 bytes. So 13 byte, 8 plus 4 plus 1. So that much only is the memory consumed. Okay, so next is by using attribute. So this is the way of writing. If you just write this line, your output also will be correct. Okay, now union, everything is same like structure, all nesting, everything is possible. Only thing is, out of these 2 data type, whichever is the largest data type, that amount of memory will be allocated. So which is the largest? Character name 50. So 50 bytes of memory starting from 0 to 49. Starting from 0 to 49 bytes of memory will be allocated. Okay, this much memory will be allocated. And when you are scanning the value of ID, if the ID is 1, what it means, that 1 will be stored here. Okay, it will be every location will be filled with 0. So don't think, if I have another character variable here, if I have another character variable C here, so I can allocate 1 memory and I can assign 1 character here, because there are a lot of spaces available in the array. That is not possible, because here the concept is, when you are writing a variable, that time I think Kaushiki told, the use is when you are writing x equals to 1, that 1 will be converted to binary, rest of the values will be filled with 0. So this will be 1. When x is again assigned to 10, so this whole will be replaced and the value will be 10. Okay, so that is the concept. How much ever big memory you take, when 1 you are storing, to store the next value you need to wrap the memory and you need to store it. Okay, so in this case it will be okay 7. Okay, so in this case it will be like only 1 variable can be stored at a time, and allocation will be equals to the maximum data type. Okay, so storage wise one difference and accessing wise difference. So even though we have stored ID, we have stored ID, then we have stored the name. But when we are printing ID and name both, we can see that name has got printed properly, but ID has got overlapped. Okay. So we just have gone to the difference. I'm not going to go once again. We were in constructor and we have seen the classes. I'm not giving a revision of class today because just last day you have done, and we'll be dealing with a lot of classes today. So I'm not giving a revision of what is class. Again, in the next all what we are going to do is class only. So I'll be coming to the constructor. Okay, if you want to see a class, you can just see a class. As of now, just you can see how was the class concept. I won't be using Turbo C today now because last day we have used full Turbo C. Time has gone so much. So whenever it is required, I will be using. Okay, so you can see how is the structure for a class. You can have, okay, or else I will try to find some more. I'll try to find some more wherever the class is there. Okay, so just take one example. Just don't take it as example of some specific concept. Just see what is class. Okay, class is what? Class is a just like a structure. Inside the class, we can have many variables declared. We can have many functions. Maybe prototypes will be declared, or what we can do is we can just as a whole full function we can write inside the class. Okay, 1 second. Okay, see here, suppose this is a class. Inside this class you have a data member. Okay, now let's see, let's say we have a class. Okay, we have a class animal. Okay, inside this class I have a data member. Okay, this, if I show you, you can't understand. Let us come back to the 1 second. Let us come back to the first one. I think this only will be useful. You can remember. Okay, here only you can see that you have a data member inside the class cube. Okay, and you have a member function. Let's say the member function name is CC cube. So there is no problem. You can treat it like a function CC cube. It is not constructor now. Its name is CC cube. Okay, so CC cube is a function, and inside the function you have done something. What you have done? You have used one of the declared variable inside your class. That value you have assigned. Okay, then you have closed the semicolon. So where you find the difference of this with structure is you have the function C cube inside the structure. So it is not a structure, it will be called as class. Okay, so when you will be having the first variable declared, now till now I must say that when you are declaring this, there is no memory allocated till now. There is no memory allocated. Okay, so when you have declared cube equals to C, so what you have done, actually one variable has created whose name is C. This variable is nothing but called as object of class cube. Okay, so object of class cube, and what is the size of it? See here how many data members are there in the class. Object size will be equals to that. So how many data types are there? Only one data members are there. Int side, there is only one data member. So this is only nothing but SIDE. This is only nothing but SID. And how much memory? 4 byte if integer size is 4 byte. So here object C size equals to the side equals to 4. So if you would have had one more integer declared here, okay, let's say I, so what would have been the size of this structure? Size of this structure should have been 4 plus 4 8 byte. Okay, 4 plus 4, 8 byte. I will draw here. So your variable, structure variable, that is here your class variable or nothing but called as object C, will be consisting of two things in this case. One is side, one is side, and another one is I. One is side and another one is I. Okay, int I. There are two data members in the class. See, I must say these are called data members. Data members means variable declared inside the class, and the function inside the class is called member functions of the class. Member functions of the class. So remember two names, one is data member, one is member functions. Here you have one data member, so your object size will be equals to the data member. If we assume there are two data members, side and I, so your structure, your class variable, that is object size will be equals to 4 plus 4 byte. Okay, 4 byte for side and 4 byte for I. Okay, so 8 byte will be your memory size. Function does not consume any memory in the structure variable. Please remember, function does not consume any memory. It is not part of the object. Okay, so what it is, when the function will be called, there will be the separate stack memory stored where the function body like side equals to 10. Separately, that area will be executing the code which is inside the structure. Okay, and that function area, let's say this is the area, that area will be just connected with the object. Okay, so when you are declaring side equals to 10, so side equals to 10, that assignment is happening inside the C cube. I have taken the function name. C cube is a function name which has a separate memory allocated. Here you are doing the assignment statement. I am not writing side again and again. Let's say it is S. So this is happening here, but this area is somehow connected with the object, and with result of this 10 value is getting assigned in the object itself. Okay, so if the object is C, it has a side part and it has I part. So inside that function, if you are writing side equals to 10, so 10 value will be given to the side part of the class. Side part means class is having two parts, one is side, one is I. So this part will get the value 10. Now if I inside the function I am writing I equals to 1, so this part of the object will be getting the value that is 1. Is that understandable? Is this diagram understandable by everyone? Please unmute yourself. All of you, please unmute yourself. Is this understandable by everyone? Take 10 seconds to put message in the chat box. If no, please let me know where it is not clear. So object has two parts, which is equal to number of data members present in the class, and whenever you are modifying the data member from the class, it should be data member should be modified inside the member function. That is a very important thing. That is data members should be modified inside the member function. So C cube is a member function and side is a data member. Okay, you cannot just write that. That is another important thing. Here I cannot, one second. Here just like that I cannot write side equals to, I cannot write inside just like that side equals to 10. To make any assignment inside the class, I need to have a member function. Inside that member function only I can assign the values to the data member. From main, if I want to assign the value, then it must be declared in the public section. I can write here C dot side equals to, I can write C dot side equals to 20. I will just stop the annotation 1 second. I can just suppose I want to insert the value from the main function. So what I will write is c dot side equals to 1. So what will happen? C will be initialized. C will be C is declared. So the moment C is declared, what will happen? C means only side. It has 4 bytes. It will be initialized to 10 values immediately. Okay, immediately. Just after that, if we are writing c dot side equals to 1, so this 10 will be overlapped with 1. Okay, and when we will be writing c dot side, we can get the output 1. Okay, so if you don't do that, you can see that c dot side is the value 10 because we have not changed. So 2 things, remember, if you want to assign the values from the class, inside the class, you cannot directly write it this equals to 1. You have to take a member function to assign the value. But from main, if you want, after declaration of object, after the memory is allocated for C, you can just write c dot side, c dot variable name equals to the value. Okay, coming back to constructor where we left yesterday, that is, what are the properties of constructor? Before that, I'd like to revise constructor once. What is constructor? Constructor is a special member function which is declared inside the class and having the same name as class. Okay, let us read out the properties. Constructor are special class functions which perform initialization of the object. What it does, it initializes the object. Initialization of the object means what? Here object means there is only one variable. So here object means only x. So by default it does this work. I have not given any body for a. Okay, it means by default what it does, it initializes x value to 0. Okay. So second property is compiler calls the constructor whenever the object is created. When this constructor will be called, I will be taking main next time. I will be just taking, I'm just writing the continuation. I will be taking main here, and inside, I'm not writing everything. Inside the main, I will be taking the object of class A, that is small a. The moment I will be declaring the object, what will happen? The moment I will be declaring the object, size like x will be allocated and constructor will be automatically called. Constructor of the class will be automatically called and a will be assigned as 0. X assigned to 0 means a assigned to 0. So the moment inside the main I will be writing a, constructor a will be called and initialization will take place. I can have the constructor declared outside the class also. Okay, so constructor declared outside the class means what? I have the constructor a inside the class. I have not written the body of the constructor. So body of the constructor can be written outside the class after closing the semicolon. So what you have to do is you have to write the constructor name. According to rule, scope resolution, right side will be the function declared whose body you are going to write, and left side should be the class. Okay, class name. So in this case, what will happen? Your constructor body of the constructor will be I equals to 1. Now when you will be going to main and you will be declaring a, so immediately your object will be created and that will be assigned value, that is 1. Now you are initializing with some valid value, not with 0. You are giving the body of the constructor, so it will be initialized to 1. Only difference is here I have taken the function body inside the class itself. Here I have not taken the body of the function inside the class. I have written the body of the function inside the scope resolution operator, like in outside the function, and I have made the same thing done by using scope resolution. Third property is constructor initializes values to object members after storage is allocated to the object. How I told just now, it is allocated, value is initialized. Name is same as class name. Declare the public section of the class. Remember, you must have to take the section declared as public, then only you can initialize you can declare a constructor. Constructor cannot be there in the private section of the class. Okay, you have to make it declared in the public section of the class. Okay, constructor will never return a value because it is just to initialize the object. The variables present in the object means data members of the class. Okay, constructor can be defined inside the class definition or outside the class definition. Like here it is outside the class definition by using scope resolution operator. Any doubt is there in those points? Check once. Take 10 minutes to give your feedback, like your answer, your understanding. Shujoy, understood. Take 10 seconds to write your understanding in the chat box. I got only one response from Shujoy. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Onkita. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Debarko. Okay. Some more response, please. Akash, Aloka, Promit, Prantik, Priyanka Jha. I want a response from you all. Shamapti gave response. Rishti Onurima. Akash, okay. Arjun. Tiasha. Shudip Kormukar and Shudip Paul from Bothal Shudip I want. Okay. Shubhodip Hazra, Shubhodip Das. Rita Riddhiman, Piyasha. Okay, thank you. Okay, now we'll go to the next one. Okay, Riddhiman, Rita, we'll go to the next one. Okay, so in this you see constructors are of three types. One is default, one is parameterized, and one is copy constructor. Okay, so first we'll go for default constructor, then parameterized. Okay, so if the constructor does not take any argument or it has no parameter, so this will be called as default constructor. It's very important question for your interview, types of constructor in C++. Okay, and here your freedom is how much ever you know, you are enriched with that. It is your additional thing, like you know C++. Okay, most of the students during interview will tell I don't know. Okay, it is the beginning of object orientation. It has more features than Java. Like I'm not telling about advanced feature, basic feature wise C++ is more enriched than Java. Okay, so it is like class cube. You have taken just one data member inside the class, that is, please tell the name, don't tell variable, always call this as data member. Okay, so now int main, in that blue ink is visible or red is visible properly? Red, I think, no? Okay, so int main, in main you have taken the object of the class, you have declared, and you have just, what you have done, you have just called with the values. So one second. Can you take a small quiz on that? Can you please tell me what will be the value? Can you tell me what will be the value? We have we have just declared the object. Now we have called c.side. So what will be the output and how will be the memory diagram?
Ma'am, as no value is assigned within the site, therefore
side has no value assigned in that. So what will be the expected output in this case?
Ma'am, garbage value will be printed.
Yes, either 0 value because you have called a default constructor, or any random value will be printed. So output will be 0 or any random value. Okay. So like when your constructor will be called, memory is Kaushiki 0 or maybe random value. So corresponding to this step is one memory will be allocated, that is called object C. I will be telling this again and again for 1 or 2 times because you should be used to, those who are most of you are not knowing as you said. So now what will happen, C means actually here object is just equals to the size of side. So side doesn't have any value, so either it will be initialized to 0 or there will be some random value or garbage value. Coming to the second one, what will be the answer? Can you tell me? So here in the body of constructor, you can see easily.
10, ma'am.
Ma'am, 10 will be printed.
Huh?
10 answer.
Sujay?
10 will
Yes,
be
10 should
printed.
be printed. So 10 should be printed. Because you have declared the object, so this is only C, this is your object, this is only side, this is only side, and side has allocated, side has assigned 10 values, side has assigned 10 value. So when you will be printing c.side, it will be giving you the output 10. Okay, so this is called default constructor. Why default constructor? Because see, you have not passed any parameter. This is only because of this. Okay, and here you see there is no function. There is no function present. Okay, no constructor. Constructor is inbuilt constructor will be called default constructor. Huh. Tell me,
Ma'am,
Kaushiki. Kaushiki, can you write it in chat box? I saw you left. I have not done anything. Yeah, you have faced network problem. I think I have not done anything. Okay, what I told is only here it is default constructor, and in this case as we have not passed any parameter, so it is a default constructor, like there is no parameter or argument passed inside the bracket of cube. So if I go to next slide, you can easily ask what is the parameterized constructor. See here inside the in the cube constructor, see this is a constructor again. So inside that we have int x, so we have passed some parameter inside the, yes Kaushiki, we have passed some parameter inside the function of, here function is a constructor function. Okay, and we have assigned side equals to x. So whatever value will be passed as x, side will be assigned with that value. So whatever value will come from x, that value will be assigned to side. Now what we have done is we have taken the first object we have created, and you see here one more thing, how you have passed the parameter. In the bracket, at the time of creating your object, in the bracket you have passed the value 10. Okay, so in this case what will happen, C1 is the first object to be created for cube class. Okay, so this is the C1 first object, and you are calling the constructor by passing the value. As you can see that constructor syntax is you have to pass a value. So in the time of creation of object, you can just pass the values of x. So what will happen, x will be assigned to 10. So in this case, when it will be printed C1 dot side, you can see 10 to be printed. See here, we are first going to create many number of objects in a single program. Many number of objects in a single program. So in this context, I want to tell you one small story, that is, suppose human being is a class. Suppose human being is a class. So what will be the object of human being class? One object of human being class can be Akash. Okay. One object can be Pramit. So object is nothing but a real life entity. Okay. In real life, if human being is a class, it has 2 eyes and 1 nose and 2 ears. If there are variables ear, eyes and nose, then when you are declaring from the main, you are declaring the object of the human class. So first human is Akash. Second, again you are giving class name and you are declaring another object. So it means what? Akash is also having 2 eyes, 2 ears and 1 nose. Pramit also is having 2 ears, 2 nose and 2 ears, 1 nose and 2 ears. Okay, so you can have n number of objects declared inside the main in C++. Inside the main in C++. Okay, so Akash is one object of this class. Similarly, C1 is the first object of the class and you have passed, it is only dealing with constructor. So we have just passed 10. Second time we have passed 10. So what I would like to mention here is second object which is created here is C2. One second. What object we have created here second time is C2. So C2 will be assigned to which value? C2 will be assigned to value 20. Similarly, C3 will be, C3 is another object. Just remember what you have done for one object. Same thing. It means it is the copy of X for C1. It is the copy of X for C2. It is the copy of X for C3. And it has the value 30. So when you are calling C1 dot side, so it is the X or side. X or side. X or side. So C1 dot side means what? 10. C2 dot side means what? 20. C3 dot side means what? 30. Is this understandable? Is this parameterized constructor? Copy constructor is some concept, the next concept. Any doubt means you can please ask. Okay, Shujoy, thank you. 10 seconds, one response, or you can unmute yourself and tell me first. Okay, so your output will be 10, 20 and 30. Okay. Okay, I have got a couple of yes. So I'll be moving to copy constructor. Copy constructor, okay, Devargo, as it is used to create an object, hence it is called a constructor. Why the name constructor came? Because it constructs something. What is construct? It constructs the object. Is it constructing the object? No. Constructor is not constructing the object. Like object will be constructed when like you are declaring a variable. Koshiki, 1 second, I will come back. Koshiki, can you please ask your doubt once again? I didn't understand. One second. Ma'am, why we declared X? Where you are telling about declaration? Koshiki? Koshiki, if you can talk, if I can hear means it will be good. Unmute yourself. Koshiki, can you speak, or you can just write in the chat box? By the time you type or you speak, are you connected, Koshiki? Are you connected, Koshiki? Okay, we'll be coming back with her question. As of now, I have not understood, or maybe she has got disconnected. So we'll come back to her answer very soon when she joins back. Okay. So now you see once again. So this we were talking about copy constructor. Constructor constructs what? It constructs the value. Okay. It constructs the value of the object. Kushiki, tell me, Kushiki.
नेटवर्क प्रॉब्लम है मैम. डिक्लेरेशन मैम साइड इक्वल टू एक्स आप डिक्लेयर किए थे मैम, वो फंक्शन डॉट में शायद नेक्स्ट वाले प्रोग्राम में इससे पहले
Side equals to 1 second. Tell me once again. Side equals to x. Side equals to x. It means you are just side में
मैम 10 20 30 असाइन होगा.
See, when you are writing cube C1, it means what? One object will be created. C1 object will be created. C1 object means what? Nothing but side. So what is C1? That is only side. Is this understandable? Is this understandable? Okay. Now you are passing the value 10. So in the time of calling, as if you are calling a function, by writing C1, you are just calling a function. Earlier you used to call a default constructor which may not exist. Okay. Now you are calling one function. Constructor is a function with parameter. So now when you are writing cube C1, you are calling one function, which the function you are calling a function. Function is what? Cube function. Why cube function? Because cube is a constructor. At the time of creation of your object, constructor will be automatically called. So what is your constructor? This is your constructor. So this will be automatically called. Now if this has to be called, how you need to call? It is a parameterized function. So in the time of calling, you need to pass a parameter in the time of calling. So you have passed 10. So what will happen? This 10 will be copied to x. You just assume it like you are calling a function. Here creation of object means calling constructor. Okay. So constructor is a parameterized constructor. So 10. So this 10 will be copied to side. So now side or C1, whatever you say, that is failed. Similarly, one more object you have created. So at the time of calling this object means calling constructor. What type of constructor it is? It is a parameterized constructor. So in the time of calling like creation of object, pass a constructor function. See, I won't say constructor function, I will take constructor only. See here, the name of the class is same as the name of the function. That means that as both are same, so it is a constructor. As this is same, so it is constructor. Okay. Now, inside the constructor, what you are doing? Inside the constructor, what you are doing is you have just taken two variables. So it is a kind of parameterized constructor. Obviously, parameterized constructor, because in the constructor bracket, you are just passing two parameters. Okay. Pranit, you have left. I can see many of you are leaving and joining. Okay. So X is the, remember this is a very useful thing for you to understand. See, you are equating x1 and y1 to the class variable. Class variables are x and y. So whichever is coming as a parameter in the time of calling. So you can easily see here, when you have created your object, you have passed with two values in place of one value, because here your parameterized constructors are having two parameters. So 10 will be, yes Pranit, I can understand. So 10 is x1 and 15 is x2. So what will happen? 10 will be copied to x1 and 15 will be copied to x2. Why we can use simple direct use constructor? No. Shujoy, it is just name we have taken. Sample copy constructor is the name of the class. Instead of that, we can just take a name A. Yes, you can take a name copy constructor. Okay, it is just a name we have taken. Okay, yeah. Yes, you can use any name. You can use Shujoy also, no problem. We have just taken sample copy constructor. You can take Shujoy also, you can take Priyobrata also, no problem. Okay. So, but you need, whatever you are taking, if you have taken A, you need to repeat here with A. Okay, that's all. So, 1 second. Let me erase this. Okay, so these two are coming as 10, 15. So it will be 10 and 15. Now you are taking a copy constructor. How is copy constructor? I cannot tell the reason much here because I cannot show you the string copy constructor because of time problem. As of now, you remember, if you can understand this much, will be more than enough. Take the name of the copy constructor, which we have taken as sample copy constructor. Take a object reference. I cannot tell you now what is object reference. And take constant. Take constant. Constant means it is not going to be changed. You know, if you don't take the constant, it will be copied infinite times. That's why a constant is being taken. How copy will happen infinite time is as of now beyond the scope. I cannot explain. It will take a lot of time. Okay. Now, you see here, when you are taking ampersand SAM, you are just writing SAM.x and SAM.y. Coming back to this thing, see, you have a display function. You are displaying the value of x and y. Now coming to main, you are first calling your constructor by passing 10, 15. So before that I told once while doing, but now formally I am explaining the whole program. So 10, 15 you have passed. So in the time of creation of object 1, now object 1 will be created. Your name of the object, first object is obj1. So obj1 will be called with 10, 15, and so 10 and 15 will be copied to x1 and y1. Okay. Now that x1 and y1 will be copied to x and y. Okay. Now So it is done. Normal constructor, parameterized constructor. Now when you are writing obj, you see here two things you are doing here. One is, one second, let me erase this. Two things you are doing here. One is you are creating one object. Till now you are creating one object. You had previously one object, that is obj1. I am writing O1. Now you have created another object, that is obj2. I am just writing O2. Okay. Not only that, till that your creation is done, what you did is you have equated it with obj1. You have equated this with obj1. It means what? This will be equated with this. So when you are having a variable int x, if I can write int x equals to ampersand y, it means, actually, you know, it means what? It means x and y both are pointing to the same location. If there is a x which has 10 value and there will be a y which will be also pointing to 10, which will be like this is x, and this means y is also pointing to this location. That is called object reference concept in C++. Don't ever think there is a pointer. It is called a reference variable. Reference variable means you have a variable, you are taking a reference variable, means your x, whatever is your x, y is that only. Whatever is your x, y is that only. So if you are writing x equals to x plus 1, x equals to x plus 1, and you are printing the value of y, you can see y got printed. That is what y is called alias. Okay, Vijay. Okay. Oh, it's 8:30 now, right? All are having Saraswati Puja tomorrow. I know it. Even we have. But what to do? Okay. If you want me to stop little early, I can stop little early. If you feel, you can tell. Okay. But otherwise, I'll be continuing till 9. But sharp 9, I will stop. Okay. So x equals to x plus 1. So y also will be equals to 11. Okay. Y also will be equals to 11. So this is a concept where you have taken the help of a reference variable. So you can just think that here what you are doing, O1 equals to ampersand O2. It means what? Whatever is your obj2, that only will be obj1, and that referencing is done by this ampersand sign. So this will be how it will be incorporated, you know. It will come as ampersand equals to obj1. Because of equals to sign, copy constructor will be called, and because of you have given here obj1, SAM will be taking the value of obj1. So the operation what will be performed in copy constructor is whatever is there in the left side of equals to will be actually O1, and whatever is right side of the equals to, that before that there will be a ampersand. So that's how it works. And obj1 is having two part. One is 10, one is 20. So obj1 is having one x part and it has one y part. So obj1 I was talking about. So obj1's x part is 10, and obj y's x part is y part is obj1's y part is 20. So x and y will be getting the value 10 and 20. Can you please clarify once how much clear it is? It is not that simple concept that it should be clear in one shot, but
आउटपुट क्या आएगा?
Tell me, Kaushiki.
Ma'am,
Tell me,
what will
Kaushiki.
be the output? Ma'am, what will be the output of this program?
Output in the sense when you are calling obj1 dot display, it will be showing you 10 and 20, and obj2 also is a copy constructor, so it will also be showing you 10 and 20. Answer display is simple, like you are just displaying x and y. So x value is 10, x value is y.
Ma'am, it means value of x is copied by obj1 and value of y is copied by obj2.
Exactly. OBJ2, how this call is performed, you know. How this call is performed, you know, when you are calling the, that's why I told this means your OBJ2 is created. Okay. Only equals to means your copy constructor is called. Now obj1 means this obj1 will be coming here, means obj1. So obj1 value will come inside SAM. Okay, so now you can assume you have a SAM, which is nothing but your obj1, and you know SAM means what? It has two parts, x and y. It has two parts, x and y, which is 10 and 20, just you imagine. So when I am writing SAM.x means 1, when I am writing here SAM.y means 2. So x and y will be getting the value of 10 and 20. Like 10 and 15 you have given, right? 10 and 15. So x is 10 and y is 15. Okay. Is it understandable? Please write in the chat box.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we use 1 second? Okay. Copy constructor. What is the time now? Can I use? Okay, ma'am. Unable to. Okay. Can you write your understanding? I have doubt in understanding. Can you please write it first? Next concepts will be very easy. You can understand very fast. This is the one tough thing which you might be having difficulty in understanding. Can you please write it in the chat box? 10 seconds time. 8:26, 10 seconds time. Some more. All of you can see the chat box. Akash, all of you can see the chat box. Chat box messages. Okay. Thank you, Arkojyoti. Shubhajit, okay. Shudeep. Okay, Shudeep. Shudeep, see here. I have taken one parameterized constructor. Okay. So, 1 second. I will take one eraser. 1 second. Okay, check here. I have taken my first object, and object creation of object means calling the constructor. So which constructor will be called? I have passed two integer values. So obviously this will not be called. So which will be called? This constructor will be called. See, think one thing. If I would have taken one constructor, sample copy constructor, and if I would have created one object O, which constructor would have called? Neither this nor this. So default constructor would have called. Where is the default constructor? There is no explicit default constructor. Always, when the function will be called, there will be one default constructor called, whether you are explicitly writing it or whether you are not writing it. It will be invoked automatically by the compiler. So if you just write sample copy constructor O, means automatically initialization would have done. Like by this also, if you have taken one, suppose P, sample copy constructor P, then in the name of P, there would have been 224 bytes or 448 bytes memory would have been allocated for X and Y, and there would have been some zero value or garbage value if you would have taken that without passing any parameter. Okay, so this is already would have done. Okay, now coming back to the program. Now maybe second you have object 1, which is you are passing 10 and 15. So object 1 would have declared, I am just writing O1, I am not very efficient in writing this pen. So here you see 10 would have 10 and 20 would have got declared for X and Y. Okay, this constructor would have called. Now third line, you are creating another constructor. So till this, one second. So till this, when you are in this much, when up to this, so what will happen? Normal one constructor will be, let's say I have not written equals to and obj1. So obj2 would have been created. Okay, empty constructor. Now to call a copy constructor, the rule is we have to give equals to sign, and with which you are equating, that name has to be written. So obj2 is an empty constructor, like it will be calling one default constructor. So default constructor means obj2 will be having just X part and Y part, and it will be either initialized to zero values or some garbage value. The moment you have written equals to, it means what? Your control will jump to anywhere where the copy constructor body is written. So writing equals to is nothing but calling copy constructor. Okay, next, this obj1 is just like a parameter for copy constructor. Okay, so what is the parameter in this copy constructor? Is ampersand sam. Okay, what is the name of the object? obj2. Okay, now what is the argument of this function? Formal argument for this function, like actual parameter of this function, it is obj1. So it means what? obj2 is called with obj1. It means what? obj2 is equated with obj1. I'll repeat once again. Till this, obj2 is created. So xy is created for obj2. Okay, now equals to means copy constructor is called. Now passing obj1 means you are just sam will be equals to obj1. Sam will be equals to obj1 means I can write ampersand obj1. Okay, now what is obj1? obj1 means 10 and 20. Okay, so obj1 is 10 and 20 means obj1's expert. This is obj1's expert. Sam's expert means Sam is equals to obj1. So Sam's expert is 10. So 10 will be assigned to X. So what is the actual constructor here? obj2. So obj2's expert will be assigned to 10. Okay. Now Sam means obj1. Now Sam dot y means obj1 dot y. So obj1 dot y is 20. So y will be assigned to 20. It means this will be assigned to 20. Is it understandable? So here the display will be 10 and 20. So through obj1 only you call display function, or through obj2 only you call display function. Both the cases you can see the same output. I have assumed this is not 15. I just assumed this is 10, 20. Is it understandable? If not, I will write and explain. Please tell me in the chat box.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Understand.
Shudip?
Yes, ma'am. I understood, ma'am.
Okay. Don't hesitate, because this is the one concept we find it very difficult to understand. Okay. I'll be moving to the next slide. Could not able to cover much content today. Okay. Inline function. What is inline function? Inline function is I just want to tell you one small story before we start with inline function. You have a plate of rasgulla kept in your principal's room. Okay. Calling function means what you know. You need to move to the calling function is eat rasgulla. Function body it is written that eat rasgulla. So when you are calling function, you need to move to the location where the rasgulla is kept. You need to eat that and you need to come back to your original location. That is your classroom. Inline function means what? When the function is called, function is eat rasgulla, what will happen? In your place, rasgulla plate will come. So you should be sitting and eating the rasgulla at the same place. There should not be any control jumping to the principal ma'am's house and coming back again to the previous point. So it means what? When the function, normal function will be called, control will be moved to the location where the function is written. Okay. But in the case of inline function, or in the case of macro I have not taken separately because I cannot cover so many things. So it means what? Where the function is called, they are only whatever is the function body as if it will come to the calling point and it will be expanded there itself. So a difference between function call and inline function call or macro, both are almost same, is execution time. To call a function, you need to move, finish and come back. For the case of macro or inline function, you don't need to move, as if your function will be expanded at the point of calling itself. Okay. Whatever I said, if it is not understandable, you can just see here. When you are writing a function, you just check. There are two ways of writing. I can write one inline function can be written by using a keyword. This is a specific keyword for C++, which C does not have. I told you that one by one I will be covering the thing. I will be telling you that what is the specific to that language. As we told that C++ is having 63 keywords, so one of that you can mention as inline, because it is not available in C++ like in C or Java. Okay, so usually, so inline is one keyword for C++. Okay, which we might not have got introduced in C. So inline function you can declare inside the main. Before function name you can write in inline. So whatever is the function body, that will be executed here itself inside. But you know why it is not a good approach? Because any function, if the body is written inside the class, by default it will be treated as inline, like it will not jump because it is written inside the class itself. So writing inline extra inline keyword inside the function of inside the class is a bad approach. What you can do is, see here your concept will be clear. You have taken a function inside the class, but you have not written the body of the function. Okay, you are writing the body of the function outside the class. Okay. So in this case, if you are prefixing the function with inline, it means as if the function is present inside the class. Let me repeat once again. Any function, if you write the function body inside the class, see here the function body, this is also a function body is inside the class where the class is getting closed here. So void display is a inline function because its body is completely written inside the class before class gets closed. This is a inline constructor. This is another inline constructor. Okay. But if I would have written this display function body outside the class, then I would have mentioned it as inline to behave D as if it is declared inside the class. Whether I could able to make it clear? I could able to make it clear. Like even though square is a function whose declaration is in the class, but body is outside the class. Okay, so in this case also it will be treated as if it is inside the class. And if the function is inside the class, it is default inline function. Means it in the time of calling, control won't jump. The body as if present in the point of calling, like just like a sequential execution it will be. No control branch. Okay. So whenever you are using a function outside the class, writing of body outside the class, that time control when the constructor will be declared and function will be called, at that time it will be just like normal function call. But if you don't want function control to be jumped, so what you can do is you can just write it preceded by inline. Did you understood? Write it in the chat box.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
of you, please take 10 seconds to write in the chat box. Okay. Quickly see the property. Then if you don't have question, you can leave. Piyasha, thank you. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. Let us quickly see the properties. We must keep inline functions small. Small inline functions have better efficiency. Why small inline function has better efficiency? If in a function it is written that you have to do n number of works, eat Rasul. In this case, what will happen? It will not be having the so much of work as if you are bringing to your point. Okay, so which is not a better approach. So inline function should be all the time. What? It should be very small, so that bringing the code, I can bring one plate of rasgulla, but I cannot bring if there are 10 to 20 different plates to be eaten. Like you need to move to the position, then you need to finish all 20 plates and you need to come back. I cannot bring it to your location. Okay, so inline function should be very small, so that you don't need to, compiler does not need to bring the whole content to the point of calling for executing the sequential execution. Second point, inline functions do increase efficiency, but we should not make all functions inline, because it makes the large functions inline may not lead to code blot, may lead to code blot and might affect the speed also. Like every time function call, I am bringing plate of all the sweets to your place. This needs a lot of work involvement by the CPU or by the compiler. So this is not always good to make all the functions inside. Let the control get jumps and let it be executed. Let the person go and finish 20 plates and come. Why should I bring it to the position of the person? Hence, it is advised to define large functions outside the class definition. See, when you are declaring the function inside the class, it is by default becoming inline. So it is always good approach that if you know that function body is very large, it is not a. In this case, please take it outside the class. Okay, use scope resolution and write the body of the class. Inline functions are kept in the symbol table by the compiler, and all the call for such functions is taken care by the compile time. So call to the inline function will happen in the compile time. Symbol table as of now we are not going to cover. Okay, so just check with your understanding, write the feedback of your understanding, and by the time another 2-3 minutes you can see the program. So in a minute time I'm giving you 1 or 2 minutes time. Please write your feedback or your understanding, and while writing you can go through the programs of inline function. That is nothing, just we have taken many functions and all the functions we with work function, get, sum, difference, void, division, product, many functions we have taken. Okay, that in the public section of the class, and outside all we have declared it as inline. So it means what, you know, as if the code of the get function is inside the class only. Code of the sum function what you have written outside the class, as if it is present in the class itself, like before closing the semicolon. So all the cases call will not be expanded, it will be like plate of rasgulla should come to your place. Okay, so this all you can just take one, like it shows, output shows that everything got executed. But okay Devarko, thank you. All of you, please give your feedback now. I told that I will be leaving you by 9. Thank you so much, Devarko. All of you, please give your feedback. And if you have work for tomorrow, you can leave after giving feedback. If you don't have doubt, if you have doubt, you be connected. Otherwise, you can leave. Okay. Oh, thank you, Arjun. Thank you, Priyabruto. Prantik, Srishti, thank you. Onurima, thank you, Arjun. Tiyasha, thank you. Priyabruto, Akash, thanks for understanding. Tiyasha, Koshiki, thank you so much. Gayatri, thank you so much. Please give your feedback. If you are not having any doubt, you can just leave the session. If you have doubt, be connected and ask at the last. Okay, all are very great. Shudeep, Abhijit, Gayatri, Shubhajit, Orkut Jyoti, thank you so much, Shubhajit, Orkut Jyoti, Vibhakar, thank you so much, Deblina, thank you so much. All of you, quick response please. Rizwan, thank you. Punkita, thank you. Pramit, thank you. I need the response from everybody before you leave. I need the response from everybody before you leave. Okay, now anyone is having any doubt? You can just ask me. Anyone is having any doubt? Can you use scope resolution anywhere? Yes, everywhere we have used scope resolution, Kushiki. Scope. See, here only we have used scope resolution. Scope resolution means what? Gate function is declared inside the class. Okay, but not defined. Like I have not given bracket, and I have not written the body of the function. But body of the function, whenever the body of the function is written outside, I have to use scope resolution, because declaration is inside the class. So either body should be inside the class. If that body of the function is this one, this is the body of the function. If the body is outside the class, you must have to use scope resolution. Okay. Okay, thank you, Middeep. All of you, give your comments before you leave. Kushiki, have you understood, or whether I have understood your question? Okay, Kushiki, thank you. Okay. So it is by default, because now if I would not have given inline to this, it would have been, how you know, somewhere there will be a memory where the get function is written. So the moment your get function is called, control would have jumped here. Okay. But when it is inline, sum is inline, it means what? This is, I should have told, when all are connected, I will start with that next day, as if this code is brought here. Okay, that is the difference in inline function. It is inline. Whether if somebody also would have written in the function class, then also it is inline. Or if the body is outside, but still it is mentioned as inline, then also how it will work, you know, as if this whole code is brought to the calling point. Control is not jumped to the function. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. 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 Thank you, Shantika. Thank you, Debashish. Shubhashish, thank you. Thank you, Shudeep.